Good day, everybody. Welcome to Saskatchewan. This is Ranger Dave, and today we're going to talk about something that's coming up in the spring for everybody, whether you live in the US, Canada, another country, doesn't matter. Springtime is coming, and we're going to be dealing with mud, and people are going to be getting stuck. So, how do you get yourself out when you get stuck? The traditional tow rope, or should you use something better? Is there something better out there? I believe there is. A kinetic rope, which basically uses the power of elasticity in order to give you that extra pulling power and to reduce friction, to reduce stress on both the tow vehicle and the vehicle that's being winched out of a ditch or winched out of a mud hole. So join me in the next few minutes and let's talk about that. So, some helpful hints on things not to do with a kinetic rope. So because a kinetic rope will stretch up to 25 to usually about 28%, and then it'll compress with enough pressure, a kinetic rope is not designed to lift things vertically. Never, ever, ever lift things vertically using a kinetic rope. Use chains. Use a static rope, a rope that doesn't stretch, but never use a kinetic rope. Also, never ever use kinetic rope for something creative like a tire swing. Now, the kids might find this a lot of fun. Mr. Panda obviously does. Not a great use of a kinetic rope. So, let's go to what you actually use a kinetic rope for, and let me show you how, first of all, a kinetic rope is used, how it works, and then I'm going to give you an example of a vehicle pulling out another vehicle using the kinetic rope, and I'm going to show you how that stretching of the kinetic rope will help give you that extra boost to pull you out. So, come on, let's go give it a try. Okay, so the first thing to remember about kinetic ropes, they're much different than a chain or a regular rope. A kinetic rope will actually stretch. The best thing to use would be a bungee cord. This is actually a good way to represent what exactly the kinetic rope will do. So a normal rope, a chain, when you hook it up to the tow vehicle, hook it up to the vehicle that's stuck, this will always remain one length. So what happens with a kinetic rope is a kinetic rope has a stretching ability. The particular kinetic rope that I have hooked to the two machines back there, it stretches up to 28%. So the best way to represent that is a normal rope won't stretch. Where a kinetic rope, let's say this is the tow vehicle, which is the Outlander, and my Commander that I use for pushing snow is the vehicle that I'm getting out of a pinch. So you hook the two up, and just by having that ability for the tow vehicle to go ahead, and that stretching ability, as you see what I'm doing right now, and then once it hits a certain tension level, it'll be like almost like a slingshot in a sort of way, because then this thing will come out. So another helpful hint when you're getting a kinetic rope, make sure that you size it properly. So the kinetic rope that I'm using on this particular application is a 1/2 inch and it's 20 feet long. And it's designed for a maximum vehicle weight of up to 3,650 pounds. Its braking strength is 7,200 pounds. Now, personally, I don't really like that specification. I like to buy a rope that has a braking strength of 3 times what the vehicle weight is. So ideally, what I do is braking strength is 7,200. So I would say 2,500 pound vehicle weight is what I'd like to be at. If the vehicle's gonna weigh any more than that, like if I'm trying to pull out my truck or pull out a vehicle, then I will be using a heavier rope. So, okay, I'm gonna head over and I'm gonna tighten it up and we're gonna show you exactly how that works. Okay, so if we're trying to pull the Commander out with the Outlander, if we had a normal rope it'll be stretched out to this length. So what we're going to do now is, as the Outlander moves forward, the Commander won't move because I've got blocks under 3 of the 4 tires. So what's going to happen is, instead of the Outlander moving at the same pace as the Commander, you'll see the Outlander move forward and it'll stretch. And then when the stretching ability becomes so tight, it'll have an elastic band effect and it'll pop the Commander loose. And that's the magic of how a kinetic rope works. So let's give it a try, and I'll show you exactly how this rope stretches and how it just all of a sudden yanks the Commander out. See how it stretches? Now the vehicle is not dramatically stuck, so the stretching is not going to be as much. But this particular specification on this rope, it will stretch up to 28%. So on a 20-foot rope, it'll basically stretch over 5 feet. If you overdo it on these ropes, usually it breaks at the weakest point, but what it'll do is it'll break and just drop, which is a lot safer than what a normal rope would do. Hi everybody. So welcome to the next part of my video, just a little bit of extra information for you. So this is the Kinetic rope that I use. It's 20 feet long, and you can use it on quads, small tractors, like very small tractors, a very, very small car, vehicle, depending on how stuck you are. It's 20 feet long. So this will stretch up to 28% according to the specifications from this manufacturer, so almost 6 feet, this 20-foot cord will stretch, and then pull a vehicle out. Now, let's say you have to pull out something really big, like a big tractor, say a big 5-ton freight truck that you see driving around the city. Let's say that gets into a snowbank or something. A very small semi-tractor, a big large truck like camper or an RV that gets stuck. So you're going to need a lot bigger rope. So what the towing professionals do, and what we would do in a situation like this, you always want to use a Kinetic rope and have more length to it. Now the reason why is, where this will stretch up to 28% times 20 feet, almost 6 feet, by having 30 foot of length, now that 28% is going to be basically around 8 feet of stretching ability. So that's going to give you a lot more elasticity to give you a real good shove when a vehicle gets really, really stuck. And as you can see, this particular rope, 30 feet long, and it's 1.25 inches in thickness. Dramatic difference from my small rope that I use for ATVs, for small tractors and that. This rope is really beefy. Supposedly, the braking strength on this is 44,200 pounds, and they say up to a 22,000 pound vehicle or piece of equipment to pull with this. Again, I like to have a Kinetic rope that basically is 2.5 to 3 times braking strength of what the vehicle that I'm actually trying to pull out. So on something like this, I would ideally want to be somewhere around that 15,000 pound mark for a vehicle weight. So that's what I like to stick with. And like I said, like and subscribe. We're going to have some exciting action happening this spring, where I'm going to be towing out some tractors, some vehicles that are going to be really, really stuck in the mud, which could include some ATVs, which I'll use this rope, or I could use this as a leash for this kitty. Hello, whose cat are you? You're so nice. Okay. So anyways, like and subscribe, and I'll see you folks in the next video. Peace. Oh, and one more thing, everybody. If you guys remember at the beginning of the video, I was showing you a couple things that you never, ever do with a kinetic rope. Well, I thought of one more thing that you probably shouldn't be doing with a kinetic rope, and I wonder if you can guess what it is. Well, it's using it as a skipping rope. Okay, I'm not that great of a skipper. I haven't done that for decades, but thanks for showing up, everybody. I appreciate your support, and peace, everybody. I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for coming. Good night.